G'day all, welcome back again to Dad vs Son and our playthrough of Panzer Grenadier, Kokoda campaign, and we're going to go on with the third introductory scenario, which is going to be interesting, the defence of Kokoda itself. So the Australians have got 39th Hawthorn Q Infantry Battalion, along with the Papuan Infantry Battalion against the Japanese 144th Infantry Regiment and the 15th Independent Engineer Regiment. So this takes place on the 29th of July 1942, and it's at night. It starts at 02:30, dark o'clock. It says the turn count is 8, but the turn count in the book says 7. So I'm just going to play 7. Again, that could be because there's an errata. I'm not too worried. So the intro is, following the sharp engagement at Oivi, the Yokoyama Advance Force took several days to build up supplies and gather forces for the assault on Kokoda. Lieutenant Colonel Owen continued to desperately request airlift for additional elements of his battalion. Early on the morning of the 28th of July, an additional platoon of D Company was loaded into planes and circled over the strip at Kokoda, but the American flight crews refused to land as they believed the Japanese were too close for safety. It would be up to B Company and a few detachments to hold Kokoda against a vastly superior Japanese force. Finally, early in the morning of the 29th of July, the Japanese launched one of their famous night attacks, and the conclusion being that Lieutenant Colonel Owen deployed his forces about the village of Kokoda, using the slope up to the plateau to further strengthen his position. The Japanese brought the Australians under mortar fire as darkness fell, but waited until 02:30 before launching troops toward the Australian positions. Once again, the Australians lost their commander early in the battle as Lieutenant Colonel Owen fell with a mortal head wound during the initial charge of the Japanese forces. The Australians held firm for about an hour before breaking under the pressure of the more numerous Japanese and retreating back up the track towards Deniki. So that is that. We're using map 35, and the order of battle is we've got infantry platoons and leaders for the Australians, with the lieutenant colonel, some lieutenants and a sergeant, and the Japanese have got the engineers and the infantry platoons with their leaders. So that is that. So this is what the map looks like. It's rotated, so the number is down to the bottom. So again, north is up. Start with, I'll make it a bit bigger now. Not that big. It's getting stupid. Okay, so what we've got is, this is the village of Kokoda here, and this is the airfield area at the moment. And there is a trail that leads from hex 0103 up through here to the village at the same time. So that's what we've got. Right, so as I said, the book says it's 7 turns, starting at 02:30, going for 7 turns, so the last turn will be 0400. Now, we need to treat all jungle terrain in hexes west of the creek here, west is this way, as light jungle, and that's why there's no light jungle thing, so I've just put a light woods down here and up here to remind me this is all light jungle. The only heavy jungle is to the east here. Ignore all 60 and 80 meter elevation lines, which are all over here. So we've got the 20 here and the 40 here, sort of thing. So to my reckoning, everything down along here seems to be at 0 elevation. So this is all at 20-meter elevation, 0 elevation, and then 40-meter elevation up here. So that's that. Everything else is normal. The Australians set up first in any village and or airstrip hex. So we're in here and in here. All units and leaders that set up in airstrip hexes may begin dug in. And we have 5 infantry platoons, and we have a lieutenant colonel, 3 lieutenants, and a sergeant. So I'm going to pull up the random counters. Here we go. And we're just going to pull them. So we've got 1 lieutenant colonel up to there. Of course, that's going to do that, isn't it? Righto. So 1 lieutenant colonel. We've got 3 lieutenants. Don't know why it's doing that. Acting stupid. 1, 2, 3. Nobody's much bloody good, are they? And 1 sergeant. The sergeant's got better morale than the lieutenants. That makes sense. He's been around a little bit longer. So these guys get to set up first before we do all the Japanese. So we are the Australians are Initiative 2, morale 7-6, and have no off-board artillery. The Japanese have 6 infantry and 4 engineer platoons. They'll have a captain and 3 lieutenants. So a captain, yeah, and 3 lieutenants. Oh, he's a good one. He's not bad, and not so good. Okay, so captain and 3 lieutenants. They start with Initiative 3. Their morale is 9-8, and they have 1 8-power off-board artillery, which would be the mortar fire, like we were saying. So off-board artillery. We've got this little bugger here that I'll be using. Okay, so I'll just chuck that over there. I can now get rid of that. Okay, special rules. The Australian initiative level is lowered by 1 for every 2 steps or single leader eliminated. So, yeah, not real flash. The Japanese initiative level is lowered by 1 for every 3 steps eliminated. So, again, they've got the advantage there. It's nighttime, so maximum visibility is 1 hex for the entire scenario. And the airstrip hexes in 0803, 0804 are an airstrip. Treat them as clear terrain, except that all direct fire attacks on those hexes receive a special +1 column modifier due to the lack of cover. So that's not real flash setting up on there. So yeah, you'd be dug in, which would help, but there's no cover, so yeah. And the following adjustments may be used. Optional first one is ignore all elevation lines. Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to use them. And optional rule 2 is assume the Japanese launched their attack later that morning. First turn is 0800. We're not doing that either. We're going to play it as is. Now, the victory conditions are pretty good. It's all down to VPs. The Australians have one VP for each Japanese step eliminated, standard, and the Japanese get the same for that. The Australians also have 1 for each Australian step that exits anywhere on the south edge by the end of play. So we're not far from the south edge, and this is where they headed back towards the Daniki. And they get 2 VP for each village hex under Australian control at the end of play. and 3 VP for each airfield hex under their control at the end of the play. Whereas the Japanese get, their step elimination ones, but they get 2 VP if they control airfield hexes and 3 VP if they control village hexes. And the player who scores the most VPs wins, and a tied score is an Australian victory. Okay. So the Australians are up against it right from the start. They've got a force twice their size coming in, with better morale, better initiative, and everything else. So what I was thinking is I need to get as many victory points as possible right from the start. So what I'm thinking of doing is actually, because these guys are moving down, they're moving down the track. What I would like to do is put something in each hex. So I know I'm going to need an infantry platoon in there, and I know I'm going to need an infantry platoon in there, minimum. I'm also going to put one infantry platoon here. Excuse me. And we would probably have a lieutenant back with these guys, and all these lieutenants are exactly the same. So I'm just going to put that lieutenant there with that guy, and I'm going to put the sergeant in there. So that's going to give us the victory points straight up for holding them. Now, I've got 2 left, so I'm going to put the 2 platoons in there like that. The lieutenant colonel's the only one that's going to give me a combat modifier. I've got no morale modifiers on any of these guys, which is a bit of a pain. So I think what we do is we put 1 lieutenant to the rear in this hex, again a lieutenant here, and the lieutenant colonel here. And that's going to give us 10 victory points, 12, 3, 6, and then 6 more is 12 victory points to start with, which I've just put up on there. Now, the Japanese come in anywhere along the eastern edge. Now, there's not much sense in them coming all this way. And attacking down this way. But there may be a good reason to bring them all on up this track, of course. But I'm thinking about maybe diverting a short company down this way to cut off their retreat out of towards Daniki. Now, whether that works or not, I don't know. We are using Fog of War for this, and we will be using the disorientation as well. And especially because it's night, I think whether they've got a lieutenant with them or not, or a leader with them or not, will roll up, and if the lieutenant goes, yeah, we want to move this way, then we'll roll on the table and see whether they actually go in that direction or not, because they're not on a track. Now, disorientation doesn't affect light jungle, only heavy jungle. So if I can get them to at least this point, then everything here is light jungle. This here is light jungle because that's west as well. So I could potentially bring somebody on here. And the only way they can move then is either here, here, or here. So trying to come across, it's going to be a bit slow, but otherwise they're going to get caught up here. If I bring them to this point, I suppose they could follow the stream. Ooh, they could follow the stream and then jump out here at 0402. But the first thing we need is attacking forces coming straight up here. So I think looking at our normal direct fire, we need 11. Assault combat, we need at least 9. We're not going to get 13 no matter. Well, we could with the captain. 4, 8, 12, 13. Might be worth a go. So, our primary attack force, I'll just bring them down here. We have a full company with the captain. I think our mediocre lieutenant will get the blocking force. Which can have 1, 2, 3. That'll give them 10 at least for that. So this will be our blocking force, and our follow-up forces. We've got the 2 lieutenants here, so we're going to put Mr. Lieutenant 10 in here with the captain. No, we're not. What to do? We'll have 2 short companies, 2 mixed companies, like that, for the time being. So that's the whole idea, is these 3 forces here will basically come up this way and then spread to do whatever they can to try and punch out here. This lieutenant down here and his mob will come up and then around this way. And that's about it. So, how long have we been going? Probably too long. 17 minutes. Let's get the first turn done anyway. So, here is the turn track. As we said, Australians, Initiative 2, 7-6 on morale. Currently have 12 victory points and lose an initiative for every 2 steps lost or 1 leader. Japanese, Initiative 3, 9, 8, and 1 initiative lost for every 3 steps. We're at night, starting at 0 to 30. We roll up for initiative. Australians first, 2 plus 2 is 4. Japanese, 3 plus 2 is 5. But that gives us an event. We've both rolled the same. Yay! Okay, so let's see what we get. Last time it was no event. So we've got, 3 and 2 is 5, 2 and 2 is 4. So it's going to be 1 activation for the Japanese no matter what at the moment. We roll up and we have a 7, and a 7 and 8 again is no event. So it doesn't make any difference. Okay, so 1 activation for the Japanese. So I think what we'll do is we'll activate the captain first and his mob. They're all going to move. So the first guy comes on. This is jungle, so that's going to be 2 to there. And then 4 to there. They get the extra 1 because they're moving on a track for the whole thing, as far as I'm concerned. So that's as far as they can go. And that is their activation. The Australians, do we want to activate him? And at the moment, I would say no. Now remember, visibility at night is only 1 hex, so we can't even call in any fire until we get down into these sort of hexes here for the off-board artillery. So that's that. So the Australians will pass, or will now they bring these guys forward because they control those? That's what I was thinking of doing. So we'll activate. This is open terrain, so the lieutenant can activate the sergeant as well, and we'll activate them to move. Light jungle, which is terrain, game charts. No, yes, terrain. Light wood, light jungle. Infantry, 1. So it's the same as clear terrain. Yep. Okay. So the sergeant will move first, and he's going to go. Oops, sorry. Sergeant will move first. He goes 1, 2. He goes 3 into here with the lieutenant. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. And he is done. And the lieutenant and this guy here will move up. And again, they will go 1, 2, 3, and then 4 in there with the lieutenant colonel. Now, is that what I want? Bump, bump, bump. Yes, it is. They'll go into there. They've been activated. Like that. That's the Australians' first activation. We're back to the Japanese. Oh, I didn't move them. Smart. Thought they had activated on them. Dicky whacker. Right. Second activation for the Japanese. Let's get. We can't move up beyond him. Let's bring these guys on, and they'll simply come on to here like that, and they're done. They can't move through him because he's all beefed up. Back to the Australians. They don't want to do anything at the moment. So we'll go on to the third activation for the Japanese, and we will activate these guys to move. They're going to move on to here. So they're coming on. That's fine. They know where they're going at that point. Now they want to move down to here. And that's in jungle. So we need to get the... grab the right. Ooh. Okay, we need to do a roll. We get a 7 and a 7. Get this right. No, then a result of 7, the unit expends the normal MPs for the hex it already occupies but does not move. So that's as far as they're going this time. Okay. That's them. Australians doing nothing. Over to the Japanese, and they're going to pass. The Australians will pass as well, and that's the end of the first turn. So we can not undo, clear markers like that, and we've been going for 24 minutes. We'll call it quits there. So these guys are on the track. This here will be a heavy, a jungle hex. So that's going to cost them 2 to move into there next time. But from then on, everything's a 1, which is going to make life a lot easier. Except for, of course, we're crossing a hex line. That's a hex line. Contour line, so that's going to be 2 as well. So 2, 4 is as far as they can go to there, and then they'll be ready to jump off. It's either that or they go to here for 2, and then jump here for 2, and start a cut-off maneuver as well. Ooh, yeah, that might be better. Yes. So that's what they'll probably do, and these other guys will follow up, pushing along, and try and do that. So that's my thinking anyway. Not the smartest, but, oh, no, I didn't want to do that. No, 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 no. Clear markers. I want to save it, so that's fine. So we'll call it quits there, and when we come back, we will go on with the second turn, 0245. So, again, take care, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye for now.